Level 1, the subprime trap. You are standing under the harsh, flickering neon glow of a strip mall payday lender at 9 o'clock at night. The air inside the cramped, poorly lit office smells of stale cigarette smoke, cheap industrial carpet cleaner, and absolute, crushing desperation. You are staring blankly at a piece of paper that dictates your immediate survival. Your car transmission violently failed on your commute home in the pouring rain, and you desperately need exactly $1,000 by tomorrow morning to fix it, or you will lose your low-wage, demanding warehouse job. You have absolutely no savings. You have no safety net. But worst of all, you have a completely destroyed credit score. The traditional banking system, the clean, brightly lit buildings downtown with marble floors, have algorithmically rejected you. You do not exist to them as a human being or a customer. You exist only as a statistical liability to be avoided. Because the traditional doors are firmly locked, you are forced to walk into the predatory, unregulated shadows of the alternative financial system. You sit across the cheap laminate desk from a clerk sitting securely behind thick bulletproof glass. They do not care about your character, your grueling work ethic, or your future potential. They only care about the date of your next paycheck. You sign the dense, confusing paperwork to borrow the $1,000. The immediate relief of getting the physical cash in your hand is a temporary, highly deceptive narcotic. You do not fully understand the brutal, inescapable mathematical trap hidden in the dense pages of fine print you just signed. While the traditional banking world charges reasonable, single-digit interest rates to the wealthy, you are being charged a staggering, legally sanctioned annualized interest rate of over 300%. The system is perfectly, ruthlessly calibrated to exploit your absolute lack of financial leverage. The mechanical reality of the subprime trap closes its steel jaws around your life within the first 30 days. When your paycheck finally clears, the lender aggressively extracts their massive payment directly from your checking account. But you quickly realize the horrifying truth. The payment barely covers the exorbitant, compounding monthly interest fees. Almost nothing is mathematically applied to the original $1,000 principal. You are violently bleeding capital just to tread water. When the next inevitable emergency hits, a medical bill, a rent increase, you are forced to roll the loan over, compounding the toxic debt. Within a single year, that initial $1,000 borrowed for a transmission repair has mathematically ballooned into $4,000 of inescapable liability. The system is not designed to help you recover. It is mathematically engineered to ensure you can never, ever pay down the principal. You are kept in a permanent, exhausting state of minimum payments, heavily subsidizing a financial machine that feeds entirely on your perpetual poverty. Level 2, the consumer illusion. Fast forward 5 grinding years, you have clawed your way out of the predatory gutters, worked endless overtime, and landed a solid, salaried corporate job. You check your mobile banking app, and you see a glowing green number that makes you feel incredibly proud. Your credit score has finally reached a 710. You have officially crossed the invisible, highly coveted threshold into the middle class. Suddenly, the financial system completely changes its posture toward you. The very same banks that previously locked their glass doors are now aggressively flooding your physical mailbox and your email inbox with glossy, pre-approved credit card offers, massive personal loan limits, and platinum rewards programs. You feel a deep, intoxicating sense of arrival. You genuinely believe you have finally achieved financial success because the system is suddenly offering you tens of thousands of dollars in unsecured purchasing power. But you do not realize that the credit system has simply shifted its strategy. You are no longer considered a high-risk liability. You have been carefully, mathematically reclassified as a highly profitable, highly predictable consumer product. The system relies entirely on your deep psychological desire to project your new corporate status to the world. You walk into a brightly lit luxury car dealership and effortlessly sign a 72-month financing contract for a $50,000 imported sedan. You furnish your new downtown apartment using high-limit rewards credit cards. You are surrounded by leather seats, stainless steel appliances, and expensive designer clothes, projecting the absolute, flawless picture of modern American success. The crushing, silent reality of the middle-class squeeze operates entirely behind the scenes of your flashy lifestyle. You sit down at your kitchen table to pay your monthly bills, and the mathematical illusion completely shatters. You are financing rapidly depreciating liabilities. The luxury car loses a massive percentage of its value the exact second you drive it off the lot, but the bank continues to charge you compounding interest on the original, inflated purchase price. You look at your net income and realize a horrifying, undeniable fact. 40% of your monthly, hard-earned corporate salary goes directly out the door just to service the interest payments on your lifestyle. You are a high earner on paper, but you are functionally, absolutely broke. You are working 50 exhaustive hours a week not to build your own wealth, but to diligently pay the quarterly dividends of the massive credit card companies. Your impressive 710 credit score is not a tool for your freedom. It is the exact, glittering chain keeping you permanently tethered to your gray cubicle. Level 3. The mortgage anchor. You are now in your early 30s. You have aggressively paid down your credit cards, never missed a single car payment, and your credit score has achieved the ultimate, highly advertised benchmark, an 800. You are officially in the top tier of consumer reliability. The system rewards you with the ultimate, highly coveted middle-class dream. You are sitting at a polished mahogany table in a real estate attorney's office, signing a massive 2-inch thick stack of dense legal paperwork. You are officially closing on a sprawling $500,000 home in a pristine, quiet suburban neighborhood. The massive commercial bank treats you with absolute reverence, offering you an incredibly low, fixed interest rate. Your family congratulates you. You post a smiling picture of the front door keys on social media. You believe you have officially won the financial game and secured your future, but you are entirely blind to the hidden, perfectly legal mathematical reality of what society calls good debt. You falsely believe that every time you make a mortgage payment, you are building massive equity and securing your financial independence. You decide to actually sit down and read the complex amortization schedule provided by your lender. The mathematical truth hits you like a physical blow to the chest. For the first 10 entire years of your 30-year mortgage, the vast, overwhelming majority of your massive monthly payment does not go toward owning the physical house. It goes directly to the bank's profit margin in the form of heavily front-loaded interest. You are effectively, legally renting the money from the bank at a premium while bearing all the catastrophic, unpredictable liabilities of a homeowner. When the roof leaks during a storm or the foundation cracks, the bank does not help you. You pay for it out of pocket. Your highly valuable, hard-earned liquidity is now entirely, permanently trapped inside the drywall and the shingles of your suburban home. You cannot invest in a highly profitable business venture. You cannot take a massive lucrative career risk, and you cannot walk away from a toxic, abusive corporate job because you are heavily shackled to a massive, unrelenting monthly mortgage payment. You have achieved the ultimate consumer milestone, but your perfect 800 credit score simply qualified you to become the safest, most reliable, most profitable long-term asset on the bank's massive corporate balance sheet. You are completely anchored to the ground, entirely immobile. Level 4. The leverage pivot. You reach a profound, paradigm-shifting realization in your late 30s. You study the ultra-wealthy and discover a fundamental secret. They do not use the credit system to buy flat-screen televisions, luxury cars, or massive primary residences. You cross the critical, life-altering threshold into the realm of smart money. You permanently, entirely stop viewing debt as a mechanism to consume goods, and you begin viewing it entirely as a mechanism for raw, unadulterated leverage. You aggressively stop taking on personal consumer debt and completely pivot your financial identity. You walk into a commercial lending office, not as a desperate, pleading consumer, but as a cold, calculating business partner. The commercial bank does not care about your personal W-2 income or your traditional FICO consumer score in the same way. They only care about the mathematical viability, the cash flow, and the cap rate of the asset you are trying to acquire. You use a massive commercial mortgage to purchase a 12-unit apartment complex in a rapidly growing, transitioning neighborhood. You do not use your own hard-earned cash. You use the bank's millions. You close the deal, sign the papers, and immediately place thoroughly vetted, hard-working tenants into the units. The entire architecture of your financial reality permanently changes overnight. The tenants wake up every single day, drive to their exhausting jobs, and earn a paycheck. They hand a massive portion of that paycheck directly to you in the form of monthly rent. You take that rent, pay the bank's commercial mortgage, cover the maintenance reserves, pay the property taxes, and quietly pocket the remaining positive cash flow. The mechanical, mathematical beauty of this system is absolute and undeniable. You are using the bank's infinite capital to acquire a hard, physical, appreciating asset, and you are using other people's physical labor to pay down the massive debt. As the commercial loan slowly amortizes, your personal equity aggressively expands. As inflation rises, the value of the brick-and-mortar building surges. The credit system is no longer a predatory trap slowly draining your life force. It has successfully become a highly efficient, entirely automated engine actively building your net worth in the background while you sleep. Level 5. The black card tier. Your commercial real estate portfolio, your private equity investments, and your operating businesses aggressively compound over the next rigorous decade. Your verified, liquid net worth violently surges past the $10 million mark. You are completely, irrevocably removed from the traditional retail banking system. Standard, 3-digit FICO credit scores completely cease to matter to your daily existence. You no longer walk into public, brightly lit bank branches and stand in line. You are escorted into highly secure, silent, leather-chaired private banking suites hidden on the upper floors of corporate skyscrapers. The massive institution does not view you as a customer. They view you as a highly coveted, deeply respected sovereign entity. At this elite, highly insulated level, the fundamental, everyday rules of credit completely and entirely invert. The credit card companies actually aggressively pay you to use their money. You are issued a heavy, solid metal black card by invitation only. Because you are routinely routing millions of dollars in corporate supply chain expenses, extensive business travel, and massive vendor payments through these high-tier, highly exclusive rewards cards every single month. The invisible interchange fees generate massive, continuous profits for the card issuer. In return for your volume, they shower you with absurd, untaxed benefits. The bank provides you with a dedicated, 24-hour global concierge service that can secure mathematically impossible restaurant reservations, acquire front-row tickets to sold-out events, or charter private jets at a moment's notice. They grant you unrestricted access to first-class luxury travel, completely free 5-star hotel upgrades, and massive, 6-figure cashback dividends deposited directly into your offshore accounts annually. You look down at the systemic, unyielding architecture of the global economy and realize a dark, undeniable truth. The exorbitant, crushing late fees and the 30% interest rates ruthlessly extracted from the desperate, starving people trapped in Level 1 and Level 2 are actively funding the massive reward pools. The brutal credit system that actively drains the lower and middle classes is now entirely, perfectly subsidizing your lavish, ultra-wealthy lifestyle. You are floating comfortably on a velvet cushion funded entirely by the silent struggles of the masses. Level 6. The buy, borrow, die phase. You are now operating in the absolute, untouchable stratosphere of extreme personal wealth. Your staggering net worth is securely tied up in massive, highly diversified blue-chip stock portfolios, sprawling international commercial real estate empires, and untraceable holding companies. But your primary, overriding objective violently shifts. You are no longer focused on accumulating more wealth. You are entirely, obsessively focused on protecting your massive capital from the most aggressive, highly motivated predator on Earth, the federal tax code. The credit system officially transitions from a tool for leverage into your ultimate, impenetrable legal shield against the Internal Revenue Service. You decide you want to purchase a massive, $10 million architectural masterpiece hidden in the snowy hills of Aspen. If you were a highly paid but financially uneducated professional, you would simply sell $10 million of your massive stock portfolio to fund the cash purchase. But you know that selling those highly appreciated assets would immediately trigger a catastrophic, massive capital gains tax event, voluntarily handing millions of dollars directly to the federal government. Instead, you execute the legendary, closely guarded, highly exclusive strategy of the global elite: buy, borrow, die. You take your massive, highly liquid stock portfolio directly to your private wealth lenders in Geneva or Zurich. They view your blue-chip equities and index funds as pristine, flawless collateral. They happily, eagerly issue you a $10 million pledged asset line of credit at a heavily negotiated, near-zero institutional interest rate. You pull out the $10 million in cold, hard cash and buy the mountain mansion outright. Because this massive influx of cash is technically and legally classified as a loan, it is entirely invisible to the IRS. It is not classified as income. It is 100% perfectly tax-free. Your underlying stock portfolio remains completely untouched, continuing to compound in the market at a rate that easily, mathematically outpaces the microscopic interest on the bank loan. You fund your entire opulent, globe-trotting existence using untaxed debt, completely bypassing the very concept of income tax. When you eventually die, your vast assets receive a legal step-up in basis, completely wiping out the tax liability for your heirs. You have completely, permanently beaten the system using its own highly rigged rules. Level 7. The institutional lender. You reach the absolute, terrifying apex of the global financial pyramid. You are no longer satisfied with simply navigating the credit system, exploiting its leverage, or utilizing it for tax avoidance. You fundamentally realize that the ultimate, unassailable, absolute power lies not in borrowing the money, but in aggressively controlling the issuance of the debt itself. You completely stop participating in the credit system as an elite borrower, and you permanently transition into the ultimate issuer. You utilize your staggering, multi-billion-dollar liquid wealth to acquire controlling, unshakable stakes in the very financial institutions that run the global machine. You sit at the head of a massive, polished mahogany boardroom table in an untouchable, highly secured skyscraper in Manhattan. You own the ruthless private equity firm that controls the massive commercial banks. You own the sprawling institutions that issue the high-interest credit cards to the naive college students. You own the corporate entities that bundle, securitize, and trade the 30-year mortgages, keeping the middle class trapped in the suburbs. You own the predatory, unyielding subprime auto lenders, aggressively trapping the desperate workers in Level 1. You are no longer a highly skilled participant in the market. You are the absolute, undeniable master of the market. You look at the massive, glowing digital dashboards projecting global economic data in your boardroom, and you see the perfect, unbroken, terrifying systemic loop of human labor and debt. You dictate the national interest rates through your massive lobbying power. You dictate the exact, uncompromising terms of survival for the lower classes. The agonizing predatory interest extracted from the single mother at the payday lender, the crushing credit card fees squeezed from the drowning middle-class corporate manager, and the front-loaded mortgage interest paid by the exhausted suburban homeowner. It all flows in a massive, unstoppable, invisible river directly upward. It bypasses the workers, bypasses the consumers, and pools directly into the massive, tax-sheltered offshore accounts of your holding companies. You watch the green numbers aggressively tick upward on the screens, realizing with cold certainty that the entire global financial system is perfectly, mathematically engineered to continuously harvest the energy of the desperate simply to fund your quarterly dividends. You are the invisible architecture of the world, and everyone below you is just paying rent to exist.